All right. So I'm Sylvan Finger with the Basic Life Skills course, and today we're focusing on families. And today I have with me Mickie Confer, as she's a part of Strengthening Families from in Glenn County. And so instead of me telling the people what you do, so who are you and what do you do with Strengthening Families?
All right. Well, I work as a licensed clinical social worker in our county. I worked for 3 years with our children's and family unit as a child's therapist. Then I fell madly in love with Strengthening Families, and I have been coordinating that with the SUDS department, Substance Use Disorder Service department of our agency since I moved over there in 2020.
Okay. Okay. And so, how for strengthening in terms of the program, tell me more about the program itself. So,
Yeah, so Strengthening Families is one of my favorite programs because it is a full family system intervention, meaning the entire family gets the same kind of learning opportunities. They're given the same skills and the opportunities to practice in a classroom setting that can help bring kids back into the family unit, to strengthen those bonds, to address all the challenging behaviors that kids, teens, young adults may be showing you, and how to really, as a family unit, navigate through life so that you can grow to become a strong, loving family.
right. All right. And, just hearing that doesn't sound difficult, right? You're like,
If only.
it's all just be nice you can be nice to your neighbor, you can be nice to your kids, right?
Absolutely.
Things are just different when you live with
Absolutely.
someone, isn't it? And,
Absolutely.
I learned with my own 2 kids, as I've got now 2 preschoolers in my own home, that everyone has their own discipline practices.
Yes.
And I'm starting to cling to the phrase more. You can bring them in this world, and you can bring them out. And especially on your hard days with the kids, you just want to kick them out of the house and not deal with them anymore. But of course, usually, almost always, no one does that. But there's when you have people, there's going to be conflict, and especially that's no different with families. And maybe your own blood, but there's everyone has their own personalities.
Absolutely.
And so, for this program, is there a certain kind of person you're looking for this program? Is it just for anyone with families? Is it for little kids? Older?
It is for any family unit, however the makeup is, that wants to learn skills to strengthen their family. So there's no intake process, there's no assessment, there's no barriers for them showing up. We collect referrals from all of our partner agencies in our county, and we also take you guys walking in off the street if you want it. So as long as you're willing to come for the 11, 12 weeks of the program, and try your best to learn what we were putting down, you're welcome to come.
Okay. Well, great. Great. Now, we've talked about kind of the what, but to kind of put I guess some of the skills people come out of, what are some of the excellent outcomes you've seen from beginning to end? I can imagine people saying, well, I'm not that bad. Do I really need this program? Like I said, I haven't kicked the cats out of the house yet.
Right.
But so what are some examples of outcomes you've had with the families?
So my favorite outcomes always when I get the parents that come to me, maybe 6 or 7 lessons in, and they pull me aside and they're like, oh my gosh, my kids are listening to me. They're doing their chores. They're doing their homework. I don't feel like the bad guy anymore in my household.
Right.
The skills that you're using and teaching us are actually really effective. That is amazing. I've seen families strengthen their bonds, which help kids learn and grow in a healthy family system. We have had families establish chore routines, and the kids willingly and gladly do their chores,
Wow.
which the parents before the program and when we're first teaching them, they don't have even a picture of. They're wanting their kids to stop all these bad behaviors, or I'm just not getting them to listen. I'm trying to tell them things and teach them things, and they're just not engaging with me at all. And through this program, I've seen, as I say always, foundational family change. So we're not just changing certain behaviors of one person in a family. We are reconceptualizing what it is to be a strong family with them. So they come through the program, and you pointed out something of like, I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. No parent is that bad, but there's always room to grow.
Right. Right. So you said there's always room to grow. Have you ever had any perfect families come out of this program?
I believe perfection is the enemy of growth. There is no such thing as a perfect family. And aiming for perfect and thinking you're perfect will stop you from growing, because there's no more room in perfection.
Right.
So I would say the perfect family is the one that shows up, who tries new things, who gets vulnerable in our like classes, kind of learns to renegotiate their own like emotions, their thoughts, their identity of, oh, I can be an effective parent, or, oh, this is what a kid's role is.
Oh, I see.
And so when we're doing both of those at the same time, as long as they're able to just give it a try, play a little experimenter in their own lives of, let's try these skills. Those are the perfect families.
Right.
The ones that are just willing to try a little bit different.
And I think, I mean, the main program, I think you've said it earlier, that you said it's to help the children be their best.
Yes.
And so, I think a lot of times people think, well, they can just figure everything out on their own, but that's not necessarily true. And in fact, I think it's not true. A lot of times it does take a community of some sort to bring that out.
Absolutely. We're not given the manual when we come out of the womb. We're not programmed like robots right off the shelf. You can plug us in and we'll do our job. We have to learn.
Right.
Children are not equipped with a lot of the skills that, if they're not equipped with in early life, they may not even be equipped with in their adult years.
Correct.
Which is why I see a lot of benefit of working with the parents, the teens, the children, grandparents, if they're parenting, whatever people are in that family unit, we can work with them.
Correct. So how do they sign up for this program?
Well, they can always come into one of our behavioral health offices, either in Willows at 242 North Villa, or 1187 East South Street in Orland, or any other kind of human health and service agency counterparts. They all refer into us, including people like child welfare refer into us, SARB refers into us. But like I said, if they want to come and show up on the day of, they're welcome to.
Great. Great. Now, I noticed some part of this program, you mentioned it took 7 weeks of how long are the sessions roughly about?
So the length of the program is, we try and keep it around 10 to 11 weeks. Typically, the program can be stretched to 12 weeks, but we want to keep it a little bit shorter because we know families are really impacted by things going on.
Right. And how many hours is each class? Is it 1 hour? Or is it?
So we are together for 2.5 hours.
Okay.
So one of the cool things is, one of the things that brings people in through the door initially for sure are our free meals.
Right.
So a big tenet of our program is that families sit and eat a meal together. And we model that in our own program by providing a meal. And I do thank you guys so much for helping us provide meals on the other years that we've done this. It's always a benefit for these families to get that meal, because then they can get some nourishment in them, kind of settle their need for hunger or water, and then become learners in that environment. Then after that first half an hour of dinner, we do breakout groups.
Mhm.
So this is where our individualized learning comes in. We have a childcare room so that the littles could always come and the families could bring their little ones to the program. They're watched while the parents, the teens, and the tweens all get educational classes.
There's my daughter.
Speaking of the
That's
little ones.
right at this moment.
And each
so-
group is taught very age-appropriate lessons on the same topic. So we may be talking to the parents about, okay, how do we establish rewards? And while we're working with kids to like, what are rewards?
Mhm.
What kind of things can you ask for rewards? Because true the word, if kids come up with their own rewards and consequences, they're more effective.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I get to be a part of the
Exactly.
solution.
And oftentimes they'll know what's coming if they are going to behave badly because they already know the consequence they decided on.
Right. All right. And so, um, so you said you hope to keep it to 11
11 weeks, yeah,
sometimes
11
down to
classes.
12. Um, so what is it that you have that has to be as much as 11 classes long that you can't just read, say, some post on the internet or some article or some Reddit post to solve
Exactly.
someone's solve whatever problem with?
Absolutely.
What is it that you do differently?
What we do differently is not only are we individually teaching each like age group of the family in their age appropriate lesson plans, but we're also providing the families areas to come back together later after those lessons. That's our next hour of practice. So instead of just reading something online and you're trying to implement and you're not sure if it's what is supposed to be implemented, we have our facilitators in that family practice session, the same ones that are going to be facilitating each of the lessons with different age groups. They are around to ask questions.
Okay.
Or say, I can't think of the how to phrase this. How would you say the positive opposite to stealing? And so we can sit there and go, okay, well, let's what are the things that we want to increase? Tell me a little bit more about that. And we can work more one-on-one with them.
Right. So basically you have a coach all the way through.
Yes, absolutely.
Even though you do have basically class sessions, you're still being coached personally one-on-one all the way through, which an article will not solve. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so from what I understand, you guys didn't put this program together by whatever you felt like was best. This actually comes from, I guess you could say it's a curriculum.
Yes.
From what I understand, is actually even scientific based. There's been studies done on what develops a strong family.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit more about that?
This program was developed by Dr. Kara Comfort and Dr. Ahmed. They are two doctors in the kind of neuroscience and developmental psychology. So they started doing research around, well, what are the things that strong families have that maybe these families who are having struggles with truancy or children failing out of school or substance use in the home, what are the things that are going to strengthen that family? What are the strong points? So through that research, they identified some 3 different topics that were really common among all of the strong families that they surveyed. And that's that they took time to bond, they set boundaries with others and themselves, and they monitored their kids and their family to see that they're doing what they're supposed to do. And those key 3 things were really influential in producing pro-social kids later on in life. Limiting addiction to alcohol or other drugs, improved their self-esteem, prevented mental illness, and really, really showed that in the family that the conflicts were less.
Right.
The need for punishments or consequences were less.
Mm.
There was happier families.
Right.
And
Which I'm
so
sure everyone wants, right?
that's the goal. It's a happy, bonded,
Right.
well-behaving, healthy family.
Right. And which I think would make of course, even good neighbors too, right?
Absolutely.
You're not hearing yelling from the house next door for whatever reason.
Or even more, you can go to your neighbor if your kid's friends or with a neighbor's kid. You can go to them and have the skills to go, I want to set a boundary that you don't serve any alcohol to my kids. I want to set a boundary that is really important that they come home on time or
Right.
call me if they're over at your house. And having the skills to be able to know that as a parent, you can do that. And
Right.
these are the words and the ways to do that so you can monitor and protect your kids.
Right. Which is great. Do you happen to know why Glenn County wanted to start this program in the first place?
Absolutely. So we were looking for an evidence-based, which is, like I said, it's all research-based, all scientific. They've done many, many, many studies that show, yes, these are actually the outcomes that come out of these programs. Families are bonded, families behave, families are happier and more cohesive. When, let's see. Could you restate your question? I forgot.
Yes. So why did Glenn County
Oh,
do
that's
this in the
right.
first place?
Because we were looking to implement something in our prevention program in our substance use disorder service agency. So we were looking around high and low for like a family program we could refer our families into, maybe open up to the community that would help us kind of address these needs that we were seeing in our community: higher rates of substance use, higher rates of suicide, higher rates of mental illness. And because we looked around and we saw this program, and the results that it was boasting were incredible. The prevention that it was actually giving these families by giving them the tools and the skills as they're learning to grow as families was what made the difference. So we decided to bring it into our county, and we've been doing it for, I think this is going to be our 19th round.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
just over, 9 years?
Right. Right. Because that's one thing I think we haven't talked about. You do this in Willows in the fall,
Yep.
and then in Orland in the spring.
Absolutely. So we do Willows down here in the fall. This round is going to be at the Art Christian Center. It goes from 5:30 to 8 on Tuesday nights from October 1st until December 10th. And then in the springtime, we go to Orland. So we never want the families to have to drive too far. We often provide transportation, but it's a little harder to transport outside of the different towns. So we make sure to provide it in each town here in the seasonal kind of rotation. Our dream is also to be able to include places like Hamilton City and do like a Hamilton City specific strengthening family.
Which is great. Because then, the way this county is divided up, it revolves either in one town or the other.
Exactly.
It's not that far away from the other end of the county, but if you didn't have to make the drive, you'd rather not.
Yes, exactly. And we know that a lot of the families that do get referred to us are maybe lower income families, the ones that may not have the resources of others to be able to get support in other areas. So we make it very, very easy for people to attend, and they're welcome to attend as many times as they want. I have had families come back 3 or 4 times, and each time they come, they say, I learned something different this time. I was just in a different frame of mind. I picked up on something more. You bet I'm coming back next year.
Is there a cost to this program?
There is no cost.
All right.
It is free for anybody who wants to come and learn.
Right. All right. Which is great. So I think you've already answered this question. But so why strengthening families?
Why strengthening families? Because we could all use to get a little bit stronger. Family units are foundation for how we see ourselves, how we see the world, how we present in the world, and how safe we feel in the world. And unless we're really addressing how safe somebody feels in the family, how bonded they are, how much they're able to like correct behavior in a nice way, a corrective way, then those things are what's going to carry them through into their adult years to know the world is not a bad place, that people are good, and ultimately that they are good.
Right. Right. All right. And I, I don't think I mentioned this verse, but one of the verses in the Bible says, from Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6 says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and even when he is old, he will not depart from it." You know, it's interesting.
Precisely.
It's interesting just hearing all kinds of things, just the experiences you have with the family, any family, that they do remember it from a long run. It may not seem like they're listening, you know,
Oh,
might be
yeah.
pushing against, but whatever you tell them, their memory is still pretty good, and not, if not better than ours.
Absolutely.
And you know, after a while of rebellion, however many days or years that may be, you know, they will consider, you know what, maybe my parents weren't so crazy after all, and
Absolutely.
probably even appreciate it in the long run. So yeah,
Absolutely. Our ultimate goal is for them to carry all the skills into their family that
Right.
they create, and thus down generational lines, they have strong families. That's our ultimate goal, is
Right.
to have these skills be passed down by teaching them as their kids, as they grow up through a family and have their own family.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mickie, for joining me and sharing with us the Strengthening Families program. And I hope this October 1st for Willows, and even Orland in the spring, that
Yep.
you have another excellent program with many more families enjoying being a family after
Absolutely.
through all the education and challenges and development and coaching that this program provides. Again, thanks you, and thank you for watching.
Thank you.